Okay, let's see here. We are recording, so I'm going to make this about 20 minutes like I do with the other ones. Hopefully, I won't go over that. I don't think. Tonight, I just want to kind of share with you guys a little bit about what really, really works and why things might not be working. And it really all comes down to your why, which is it's your number one tool for success. And when I say that, I mean like continued ongoing success. So I want to kind of go through some of the things that can happen when you don't have a why, or you have a weak why, or you don't have one that you really believe in, or something like that. And so we're going to talk kind of about what a why is. But before we do, I want to share with you what it looks like maybe when you haven't developed one, or you're not believing in one. And we'll talk a little bit about the differences in that. But if you have any of these things going on where you feel like I'm overwhelmed easily, or I was doing really good for a while and then I kind of lost my momentum, or I lost my motivation, or I just don't know, I'm really not if you feel like these limiting beliefs, like I just am not smart enough, or I don't have enough people, and you stay there at those limiting beliefs, that might indicate that you just need to work on your why a little bit better. If you're feeling like you're just really not committed, or you've been doing it for a long time but you haven't been getting the results that you should, or that other people are, or something like that, that could go back to your why as well. And I think that most of us struggle with these in some way, shape, or form, but when we tend to have them get to the point where it's limiting us, or it's halting us, or it's stopping us from succeeding, then we know that it goes back to this usually. So we talk about limiting beliefs, things like scarcity mindset and the things that we believe about ourselves. And really, if we go deeper with that, it still goes back to the root, which is your why. And so it really it's not about like saying, I don't have enough resources, or the market's too saturated in my area, or I don't have enough time, I don't have enough knowledge, or those kinds of things, because the deeper root of those limiting beliefs is actually just that your why isn't strong enough. Because I had every single one of those limiting beliefs when I started this. So how did I make it through? I had a really, really strong why. So my goal tonight is just to get you started on developing a really, really strong why. And that strong why is going to make sure that you're able to push through when things are hard. A strong why is actually motivation. And so a lot of people are like, I just need motivation. I just need some of this or some of this or whatever to keep me going. And actually, the thing that's meant to do that is a strong why. So once you develop that, you will really go far. And so really, it's not about education, resources, time, knowledge. It's about developing a really strong why that's going to get you through the hard things and help you be creative and intuitive in what am I trying to say? Just kind of figuring things out. So let's see here. What is a why? So a why is, okay, before I do that, what I want to go back to on this is one thing to keep in mind, that as I'm going to be talking about your why, and another word for that can sometimes be vision. And so we might kind of use those interchangeably tonight in some ways. When we talk about your why, though, and the one thing to remember, if you watched the training last week, was it last week, about balanced brain, we talked about how there's a complete belief and then there's incomplete belief. So a complete belief is a belief that you really believe in both your analytical mind and your emotional brain. So it's what you believe. Basically, you truly believe it with your heart and with your mind. And this is where most people end up coming short with their why, is because they either believe it in their heart, and then analytically they're like, no, that's just not possible. Or in their analytical mind, they're like, yeah, I should be able to do that. But in their heart, they just really don't believe those things emotionally about themselves or something else. And so we want to make sure that when we're developing a why, we're going to talk about how it has to be a complete belief and how it has to be really changing what you believe about yourself. So what is a why? You know, if you look at companies, any company that's a company that's, you know, set out to do something or has something they're doing, they have a mission statement. Most of us don't realize that we have a company, a business of what we're doing, and we don't set out a mission statement. A mission statement sets it up clearly, like, what are we doing here? We are making sure that we you know, this, and we lay out what our mission is, what our goal is. So Young Living has a mission statement, and yours might be similar to that. But you know, it's probably going to be a little bit different in some ways and a little bit more defined. So then adding to that mission statement is also the outcome of achieving that mission. So your mission statement might be really just talking about helping people rewrite their health stories and have better wellness. It might also have to do with helping people help others too, and inspiring them to do the same thing or something like that. And then what is the outcome of achieving that mission? So the outcome might be like, you're going to have a good source of income that you can use for this, this, and this. So think of that combination of those two things. And again, when we go back to some of the limiting beliefs, scarcity mindset might come up in this process, where we might think that, no, it's not okay to think about having income for this or for that, or, you know, buying these things or having a bigger this or whatever. But I would just encourage you to really note when that scarcity or poverty mindset creeps in when you're developing this mission and your vision for what you're going to do. So I'm going to read something from this book called Propel. I really like this. It's a workbook that is the same place we get the Oil Share Repeat book. I just want to read you the page that they have on the why. It says, your purpose and your passion need to be shared with the world. The Young Living community needs you to bring your gifts and talents to the table, because we get stronger and better as a community as more people show up with your valuable input. And so it says, a powerful why helps you persevere with a strategy that drives you to meet your goals. So we talked about the why being like the driving force and that motivation. Let's see here. And so it's important to establish a why when you begin to share. And it's important to note that oftentimes your why changes and evolves, and that's perfectly normal and healthy over time. So there's a quote in here from Marianne Williamson, A Return to Love. And she says, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, talented, successful? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure about you, around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to shine the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. As we let our light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. And so, as she says, as we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. And so that might be part of your mission as you're going through this as well. So when we talk about that, we can see that it's kind of bigger than that, you know, like your why, it pulls the best out of you and who you were made to be. So part of the thing is, when you're thinking about what your vision is, you might have these goals and these things that you're going to achieve with this. But one of the things to keep in mind also is that the beautiful thing is what you become when you're working towards those goals. And it's just like bringing out the best of you. And so what having a strong why is doing is it's basically helping you live up to what you can do. Because when we don't have a strong why, we actually don't see what we're really capable of. And there's an example I want to share with you. This is from the Mach 2 book. It's backwards, sorry. This is from Richard Blissbrook. And he gives the thermometer analogy in here. So the thermometer and the thermostat analogy is, you know, if a room is 65 and you have the heat set at 70, it's going to heat up until it achieves that, and then it's going to stop. And so if it gets cooler, it's going to heat up again. And he talks about how motivation is like the heat that keeps things going. And so it's that measurement. And so when you have a strong vision, you have that measurement by what you're reaching for. And if you're not reaching for anything, you're not gauging anything. And you have, you know, really no way to gauge whether or not you're doing what your potential is capable of. So I like this quote that he also included in there: what the mind of man can conceive and believe it can achieve. One of the things to understand is that if we are not having this vision or why, we don't know what we're going for. So I'm going to give you a little cheesy analogy. My husband was building, I asked him to build me a box for the Christmas tree instead of a like using a tree skirt. And I totally had it in my mind what I wanted it to look like because I had been looking on Pinterest. But what I didn't do was save the picture that I had been looking at on Pinterest, and I just told him that I wanted something, and I didn't like convey the vision well enough for him. And so he started building it, and I'm like, wait a second, I don't think this is coming out the way that I envisioned it. And I realized that I hadn't really given him anything to kind of go for, or what I was looking for, what I was envisioning it. As soon as I got the vision to him, he could get it in his head, and then it just came together perfectly. And I feel like that's how a lot of people sometimes are living our lives, is we don't really have the vision. We just know that we kind of got to do the busy work, but we really aren't seeing it clearly what we're actually going for. And so we might, you know, take a lot of funky turns and roads on that path because we're just really not sure what it looks like. So that's really the goal of a why, is to really have that solid vision where you really are seeing it. And again, it's a complete belief. So it's in our analytical brain and our emotional brain. We are believing it fully. We are seeing it. And so we're actually going to talk in a minute about that a little bit more. But I want to share just 2 easy things for you to start working on developing a why. If you've done this in the past before, it's always good to review it, because even for me, like once I achieved Diamond, I found that I had to redo it because I was kind of just floating again. And, you know, not that that's not okay sometimes in life, but we have so much more potential that we can pull out. Like I saw a lot of people really just have so much more productivity with the Raindrop Reach Challenge because there was that set number of classes. And that's kind of like what a why does for us. It's like it sets that standard, and it's like, this is what you're going for. And it pulls out more creativity, more ingenuity, more you know, motivation and things like that. So you can do this a lot of different ways. What I've done, what I do when I'm working with people is the Vital 180. They have some free printables on their website on like the why and the belief questionnaires and things like that. I think they're really helpful, especially if you're starting out. If you have their Authentic Influence workbook, it's also in there. This is from Vital 180 too. So the worksheets are in there, but you can get them free on their website also. And it's just some worksheets to help you work through, like, let me find one and give you an example. So it's kind of like, it's really just like getting you to start envisioning things. And so it's like, what would things look like for you if this changed, if this was your income, if you could buy more supplements or something? Like, where are you now? Where do you want to be? How much would this much change your life? How long are you willing to stick it out in order to achieve that? And really, what's it going to look like for your relationships and your physical wellness and your financial wellness and things like that? So it's just getting your mind, it's just really got the prompts to help your mind start envisioning that really clearly. And There's also some of that in the Propel workbook too. I like the Vital 180 ones better, personally. So work on that, and then after that you'll want to create a vision board. And some people do this digitally. I personally prefer to have it concrete, something that I can see, I can hang up, I can look at every single day, even when I'm not even trying. I don't have to intentionally go and find it to look at it. And so this is going to be kind of those same things. What is it going to look like when you achieve this why? Why are you doing this? That's what you're doing it for. And then, you know, seeing that in your different areas of your life, your relationships, your finances, your, you know, the things that really you're passionate about on your heart and things like that. So something to keep in mind here when we're talking about this, desire and vision are not the same thing. Sometimes people like say, I want this. Well, I really want this. Well, I want to do this. I want to do that. And you know, what happens is, like, sometimes obviously it's okay to say that, but a lot of times when people are saying, yeah, I want this, I want to earn this much or whatever, we really want to make sure that we're distinguishing between whether or not that's a desire or a vision. So desire is just something you want. Vision is a belief. Vision is when you take desire and it's a complete belief that not only is it possible, but that you will do it. And this has to be a complete belief. You have to believe in your mind, your emotions, your heart, that it is going to happen. That's where stuff really started happening for me. I had that moment where I went, this is going to happen. It's going to happen. I'm going to do everything I can to make it happen. And that vision, that solid vision, that solid belief is what pushes you, is what gives you that energy and that motivation to keep going. Desire doesn't encourage or foster the work that it takes to do it, because let's be honest, this takes work. Vision does that though. When you have that complete belief where you believe it with your entire being and you feel it and you see it so much, that's energy. That is what creates energy that helps you figure things out when things are hard. It's the energy to ignore the negativity. It's the energy to work past obstacles. It's the energy to keep going. And it gives you the energy that attracts other people also. And here's where some people wonder, what's going on? Am I doing something wrong? Sometimes it's really about this, like whether, you know, you're attracting people or not. And that comes to energy. You know, I've said it in trainings before. I've had people come up to me at vendor events and talking to them, and they're like, you know, I know this person and this person that does Young Living, but I want to sign up with you because I love your energy. And it's because I'm really passionate about this 7 years later. That hasn't changed. And that is because my why. And my why for me was a lot of what the difference I was going to do and make for my family, but it was also the difference that I was going to make for other people. And when I continue to get those messages that, you know, you've really made a difference in our lives and this has been really great, it just keeps fueling that vision and the energy to continue. And that's why after 7 years of, you know, going strong and stuff, I haven't burnt out or anything like that. So there's a lot of really amazing power in having a really good solid why. So if you're feeling any of those things, like where you're maybe feeling stuck or you're feeling limited in any way, you're not feeling like you're really just soaring the way that you could, then I would encourage you to just kind of pause on the other things that you're doing and just really take the time to focus on developing your why. If you are struggling to really truly believe it in your heart, if you're finding yourself saying, like, other people achieve these things, not me, or I'm not smart enough, or I don't think I can do this, or you know, this doesn't happen to people like me, or whatever it is, if you have any of those, I really want to encourage you to work every day on giving yourself things that are going to change that belief in yourself. There's some good books out there. You know, you can write affirmations from scripture. You can get affirmations from somewhere else. Whatever it is, you've got to intentionally work on changing those beliefs. And there's going to be a major shift when you do that. And you start reminding yourself of really just truth about yourself. There's no reason why you can't and won't be able to do this once you get past that, because everybody can. And one of the cool things, this Mach 2 book by Richard Bliss Brooke, he talks about how he was just a total mess and nobody thought he'd do anything well. And he was working at a poultry processing place. And he ended up going into network marketing. And once he worked past his beliefs about himself, and he talks about that in here, how he read books and things like that, then he really soared after that. So I'm going to actually, let's see here, stop the screen share. And just finish up by just encouraging you, like wherever you see yourself in the process, it's worth it to stop and take the time to work on that right there. If you need help working through that, we're here for you. And if you're not sure, like, you know, some of the resources I suggested in this book, Mach 2, he has some books too that he lists that he used to work on changing his beliefs in himself and stuff like that. I can't remember what they were. They weren't ones that I've really heard of too much. So, you know, if you need some resources on that, we can track some down and give you some ideas and stuff. And maybe that would be a good one for us to work on together in the group. Just, you know, have a thread of those things that we can all really affirm with each other. So I hope that was helpful. Sorry, I did go a little tiny bit over 20 minutes. I'm gonna stop the recording if I can find there it is.